They say baseball is a numbers game. Well, let me show you some numbers. This is Christopher Morel's OPS, and this is what it should be. Entering the season, Christopher Morel was seen as a player without a position because his defense speaks for itself.
This one on the ground, Morel. He lost it. That's going to be an error on Morel.
But his bat was forcing his way into the lineup. When we look at his sophomore season, Morel was not only putting up great counting stats at a 118 OPS, he was putting up some of the hardest hit ball data in the majors. With that, most people were hopeful that Morel could turn into an everyday star for the Cubs and help them turn the corner in the division race. And the flaws to Morel's bat were relatively obvious. He struggled with strikeouts, sitting at an extremely high 31% strikeout rate, as well as sitting in the second percentile in whiff percentage. To go along with the swing and miss to his game, he didn't do a particularly good job at lifting the baseball. Launch angle is the trendy thing to talk about for most hitters, and Morel was just being one of the biggest benefactors if he were to see a slight increase in the statistic. Morel came into the season with a new approach with a clear emphasis on cutting down on the strikeouts. And it's worked. That daunting 31% strikeout rate has been reduced to 20.5, with percentage 7.8% in the correct direction. It increased his walk rate from 8.4 to 11.6. Not to say he was a bad walker before, but an improvement to being an above average walker never hurts. However, that launch angle has taken a slight hit from where it was in 2023, and so far that low launch angle has led to some balls that could have found their way out of the park, ending up into the mitts of outfielders. But that's enough nerd talk for now. Let's go ahead and show you guys some examples. Let's pull this look from April 15th against the Arizona Diamondbacks. In this example, Morel crushes the ball at 105 miles per hour at a 14-degree launch angle, which normally equates to about a 730 batting average. But in this example, he lines it directly to the left fielder. And these sort of hits will start to fall over time, but for right now, they're not. And let's go ahead and take a look at an excellent tool that Baseball Savant has, where it combines the two exit velocity and launch angle and shows all the batted ball data that they have acquired over the years from that certain set of combination and see how he can improve even with just increasing his launch angle slightly. And this is this excellent tool you can see here. So if we go ahead and put in his data at 105 miles an hour at a 14-degree launch angle, that will be right here. Gives you a 729 batting average, the majority of hits being singles, a few doubles mixed in there as well. So you can see he really should be getting a hit, but it's going to be singles for the most part, maybe a few doubles if you hit it into the right spot. But if you even increase that to a solid 20-degree launch angle, you start to see a lot more doubles get mixed in there and even a few home runs start to slip the net, especially if you hit to the corners of the field. But then if you continue to take that even just a little bit further, 105 miles an hour, we'll put it at, say, 25, if I can hit it. 25, you end up with a 95% chance of getting a hit with an 83% chance of those hits leaving the yard. In fact, his two loudest outs of the year suffered the same fate. We have him crushing this hanging curveball off Dylan Cease at a 108 mile an hour exit velocity, but once again falls harmlessly to Jackson Merrill in center field. We take that exact same dated ball, combination up to a 25-degree launch angle, and all of a sudden, that's a hit every single day. That is a home run 97% of the time, but unfortunately, just missed the mark there. And we have another example of him crushing this ball off Smith Sawyer from the Braves. Hits it to right field, crushed it, 108.5 miles an hour off the bat, but falls harmlessly to Ronald Acuna Jr. in right field. And these hits will start to fall over time once again, but if he just sees a slight increase in launch angle, you can imagine a lot of these balls are going to start flying over the fence. But there are examples of Morel crushing the baseball, hitting it at a good launch angle, but then the elements just cut it down and land it just short on the warning track. And we're going to go ahead and get into that and show you that the wind is arguably his biggest enemy. For example, we have this loud out versus Bailey Falter of the Pittsburgh Pirates, where he hits this ball 104.8 miles an hour at a 34-degree launch angle, but to dead center in Wrigley Field with the swirling winds. Michael Taylor is able to do a little half circle and run it down on the warning track. Most scenarios, this is a home run, but just due to the swirling winds and just how Wrigley plays, this can be the reality of playing there. Just kind of, Balls can die a lot of the time, especially if you don't hit them on the screws on a line drive. This is normally a home run in most ballparks, but just due to the conditions of the day, it was not. And here we see Wrigley Field claim another one of Christopher Morel's home runs. We see him absolutely crush this ball to dead center, 105.2 miles an hour off the bat at a 26-degree launch angle. Seems like it'd be a home run most days of the week, but today with a 12-mile-an-hour wind blowing directly in from center field, that's going to cut that ball down on the warning track and leave it for Jackson Merrill to get another out. And then you have this one versus Paul Skeens that I truly cannot explain. He hit this ball at 107 miles an hour with the wind blowing out at a 26-degree launch angle. And, the result speaks for itself. He crushes it. He thinks he got every single bit of this baseball, and he did. But it goes 393 feet. You see the wall, 399. Not over the fence. And realistically, I don't really have a great explanation other than he should probably start trying to pull the ball a little bit more, because going to dead center is always more difficult. And you'll have results like that where it just lands just short. But with that kind of batted ball data, not getting hits and these home runs that are just barely missing, seems a bit unlucky to me.